Coach Kiffin to the podium here. He is ready for your questions. We'll start right here in the middle, fourth row.
Trevor Denton, Way 31, report today that Nick Saban might be interested in coming back to coaching. What would be your reaction if Nick Saban returned to the field?
I wouldn't be surprised. I kind of always thought that was going to happen. I kind of thought it would happen after 1 year. But, and I say that just because even seeing recent stuff with him and talking to him on the phone, first of all, I have no knowledge that he's coming back. I don't think anybody does that. I just, he's so sharp still. I almost feel like it's a waste that he's not. No disrespect to the media and what you guys do, but his ability to coach players and change lives in that, and he's so good at it. I just think he'll be back, whether that's NFL or college.
Left side, fourth row.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. Coach, it's a different landscape in college athletics. Your confidence that the new rules can be policed and enforced?
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's happening, so I don't know that I have a lot of confidence in it. And that's no disrespect to the system or anybody involved in it. It just it doesn't seem like it's happening. And now you have what appears to be these states passing where they're not going to have to. So I don't know how that could possibly work. Like I kind of jokingly said earlier, what are you going to, in the NFL, like, hey, there's a salary cap, but the NFC Central doesn't have to follow it. I mean, so maybe it'll work. It just doesn't seem like it's been a very, very good week or so for it.
Front row.
Dick Cox with Lindy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting. Coach, do you feel like coaches today would rather go and maybe get a player in the portal that they know has got that college experience, and you don't have to take the time to try to develop them as a freshman, and then if you do, then there's no, sure bet that that freshman's going to stay with you for 4 years? What do you think that most coaches are doing?
Well, I think that's really complicated. I think that, the question always used to be, do you build through, like in NFL, professional sports, you build through free agency or the draft? And teams have their ideas with that. The problem with this is it's not, do you build through free agency in the portal or do you build through the draft? In high school, because in the draft, you draft them and you have them for 3 to 4 years, whatever the contract by round is. You can say build through high school, but you don't know if you have them. You don't know if you have them for their second semester. So I think that's a really complicated question. All depends on, I don't think it's a number like you take this many in portal, this many in high school. I think there's a lot of stuff within that, and evaluating the ones you do take and who are they, who are their families, how do they think, are they more up to stay when things don't go their way? So there's just a lot to that.
Left side, front row, and then pass it to your left.
Hey, Coach Michael Brawner, WNSP in Mobile. You talked a little bit about it upstairs, but can you address your relationship with Hugh Freeze? Obviously, you have a lot of fun on social media with the golf and the fishing, but you guys are linked between both being at Ole Miss and then rumored Auburn job before he got it. If you could just talk a little bit about y'all's relationship.
Yeah, I like Coach Freeze a lot. I think he's done a good job. He was really good to my brother when my brother worked for him, or my dad would come visit them. So I just have fun with people. And you guys think that was, or a lot of people think that I was directing, like when I was fishing in the park, because that had something to do with his golf. It wasn't. It was way back to a years ago thing when he was kind of flexing on like a picture of like a 2-pound bass or something like that he posted. So that's kind of where the whole fishing thing started.
Right side, second row.
Alex Byington on 3, 8 lane. Kind of along those same lines, maybe to go behind the curtain a little bit, but the method to the madness with the social media and kind of, obviously you're promoting your program, promoting yourself, your own brand, but what goes into kind of when you do decide to send a tweet? What's the mentality there?
Chris Lowe asked me before, he's like, man, you seem really like quiet today, like, no kind of like lines that you're giving people and stuff. And I said, you know, some of that, a lot of that was by design. You know, that I think that when you take a job and you're at a place where maybe it's been down a little bit, and how kids are today, like, you've got to get out there. You've got to do things to be creative, to get your brand out there that are non-traditional versus just, well, play really well. Well, yeah, okay, well, that takes a while to play really well and have the performance on the field. So it brings attention to your program. Recruits see it. Parents see it. I get all the time with parents, whether I'm going there or whether they're coming to me, and they're like, I feel like I already know you because of your social media. Like, we love it. So there's a lot in there because of that, kind of the stir in the pot stuff and things like that. And then I think you don't do quite as much once your program, you know, has got to a point where you do have national attention for your brand. I think where we are now compared to where we were 5 years ago. But then there's still some little stuff in there that's just, I feel like I look at social media on a daily basis if I do things just as a normal person. Like, hey, that's funny, so I retweet that, you know, like, just kind of like normal people do. And so there's that part there's not a whole lot of thought into. Like, you know, somebody said, you know, like they put things on like phones, like the sober thing where you got to blow in, like, you know, for your car keys and stuff. Like they put that on your phone for social media, like just from a standpoint of like, hey, you have to wait 5 minutes. Like when you write a post, before you post it, you got to wait 5 minutes, you know, before you actually push send. Because a lot of times people send me stuff and I just hit the button and like retweet it, you know, because it's not that big a deal.
Front row, and then pass it to your left.
Travis Brown, KBTX. Piggybacking off the earlier question, I think when enforcement does eventually come down, it'll involve universities kind of having to do what's better for the sport as a whole, maybe not good for their institution. Do you see schools doing that? Is that something that can be expected moving forward, that more people will kind of do what's good for the whole of college football?
You're asking like teams in the SEC, are they going to do what's best for the whole of college football versus like their immediate need in their program in the SEC? I think you know that answer. I mean, that's the world we live in. That's college football in general. Like, you better win now, and especially SEC. So, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to see a lot of that. Of hey, you know, this is a really good thing to do for college football, but you might lose some games and lose recruits because of it. I think it's too competitive for that. And are there penalties for, you know, if you're over this cap or the contracts and all those things, you know? I think too is, okay, well, what are those and when do those happen? And do people get to win before those happen? You know, do they get to load up a roster and go win that year and then, you get some penalties afterwards? You know, so like I said up there on the stage, we've operated for a while. It goes back to retention last December, January of our current players. The 2 portals since then, we operated that we were told this cap was coming, it was going to get passed, and that everybody was going to follow this, and it was going to be really enforced. So that's how we put together our roster.
Front row, white shirt.
Lane, 3 close losses last year. Anything specific in those losses that you could carry over, now that you're able to reflect, that you could carry over into this year to produce wins when you had those losses?
Yeah, I think run the ball better. You know, the year before, we were either 4-0 or 5-0 in one-score games, and then we were 0-3. It wasn't because all of a sudden we didn't know what we were doing. The ability to run the ball better would have definitely helped, especially 2 of those were ahead with the ball in those games. It can close them out. So I think that's a big one. But I also don't, and I'm not making an excuse like, oh, he doesn't even care about getting better, but I also don't go change a program because some one-score games one year go one way, the next year they go the other way. That's just really how it normally ends up happening over time. Just usually they're not 1 year and then 0-3 in the second year.
Right here in the middle, third row.
Sam Hutchins, Clarion Ledger. Yeah, just Lane, real quick on your social media strategy. What's the story behind your profile picture? There's like a cartoon bee on your shoulder in it.
Yeah, that's been a long time. I forgot about that. That was actually a Tennessee fan and something to her daughter that was really, impactful. And from the story, when I remember reading it, it's something that she had sent me, so it was something to do with that. I forgot about that.
Right side, fourth row.
Hi, Coach Kiffin. Back here, Carmen Corley with WTOK. You have a lot of success developing players with how much turnover you see. How do you get them, whether it's a transfer or new guys, to buy into your culture so quickly?
Well, I think that we just have a really good culture. We have a really good staff that now is together for a second year in a row without losing anybody, that the expectations are set. And it's a little bit like parenting, when you kind of have it nailed versus, okay, we're figuring it out, and there's, different sets of rules from different assistants and stuff. Our players know that this is the way they got to do things, and then when they come in, that's the expectation. I think it helps us that we recruit and coach the same way. We don't, when you come on your recruiting visit, we don't like have all this fluff and all this stuff like around it, like, and then treat you one way, like a lot of programs, and then when you get there, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this isn't what you were like in recruiting. So kids don't come to us if that's what they're looking for. They understand, like, this is how we are. So I think that helps too.
Left side, third row.
Tyler Shaw with KBTX and College Station. With the new conference and the new schedules now, do you miss not playing Texas A&M now, not having them on your schedule?
Yeah, I do. That was a good series for us. So yeah, I wish we were playing them.
We're going to go in the back row, gentleman in the blazer.
Yeah, Chris Williams, News 9, Oklahoma City. Coach, after OU hired their new offensive coordinator, I heard that the air raid doesn't work in the SEC. Can the air raid offense work, and if so, what ingredients are needed to make that happen?
It can work. I could be wrong on the stat. I feel like the most yards ever in a game, was Leach. Was that against LSU or something? So it works. So I would disagree with that. Plus, you got to be careful of, like, systems are just because something's titled a type of system, whether it was West Coast way back before or whatever it is, spread or whatever, that doesn't mean they're all exactly the same. There's intricacies within it. So that guy's done a great job, and I'm sure he'll do really good.
Final question on the aisle here, second row.
Thanks so much. David Edelstein, WJTV in Jackson, Mississippi. With the way that the season concluded last year, being just on the brink of breaking into that first ever 12-team college football playoff, what is your sense of the vibe of the team and kind of the message heading into it with a new team this year, but looking to have the same goal and just take that last step in?
Yeah, the team's so new. I think, like a lot of college football, unfortunately, your rosters have turned over so much that there's not as much like getting over the year before, whether it was good or bad, because so many players are new, and so much work to do.
Coach, thank you very much.
All right, guys, thank you. Have a good week.
Showing the team that there's no drop-off, showing everybody else there's no drop-off, and being able to just be exciting and bring that Landshark defense to full effect.
In the middle, fourth row.
Thanks so much. David Edelstein, the sports director at WJTV, the CBS station in Jackson, Mississippi. Looking forward to this season. A lot of changes like there are in college football every year now. Transfer portal, Ole Miss has been a great team at taking advantage of that. What do you think it takes in a year like this, especially where on both sides of the ball so many people have left because they've gotten drafted? They've, not just because they've transferred, but because they've been recognized for their talents at the NFL level. What does it take to keep that same high expectation to make the college football playoff in a season like this with new teams?
Guys like me, Austin, and Caden Lee, who were here last year and years before that, who knows the standard in and outs of Ole Miss football and how to be an Ole Miss football player. So guys like us being able to take that next step and be a leader on and off the field for new guys, young guys, I think that's the biggest key to keep that component and keep the standard of how it is.
We'll stay here in the middle, fourth row.
Thanks again. Being here, we're connected to the College Football Hall of Fame, literally just a building over. I was talking to someone earlier, and they were saying Coach Kiffin is kind of on track to maybe be in here one day, not just walking around, but enshrined. What makes him the right leader for this Rebels team in your eyes, a guy who sets that standard that you just talked about?
Him being himself every day. I think Kiffin never tries to be anyone else or anything for the media or anybody. I think him being himself is huge for us because he shows that him being himself is perfect and just good enough, and him setting the example for us every day.
On the right side, third row.
Alex Byington on 3. Kind of along those lines, as a player, what are some of your reactions when you see Lane, having fun on social media and kind of showing that different side of him? And how does that compare to what you see in the locker room or in the clubhouse?
I laugh because like I said, I think he's somewhat of the same, majority of the same person. So like when he's making those type funny comments or things on social media, he's the type to do the same thing in practice. He'll pull you to the side and do it. I mean, he's not outspoken to just do it in front of the team, but he'd pull it to your side and he'd crack a joke with you every now and then. So it's just funny. I laugh. Just with a player, just anytime he sees a player or something, he always makes jokes with a player. He talk to me and interact with another player. He's just funny like that, man. He's just a funny guy.
Left side, third row.
TJ, coming from such a successful high school program like Catholic, how much do you think that helped you in where you are today?
I think he was huge. I think that matured me coming into college, being able to somewhat know the standard of not the program, but just how to be a person, how to be a human, how to be a young man. And I think that transitioned well into college and knowing to just step into this role.
You look at last season, and there are a couple of plays, maybe Kentucky and the LSU game, where if they go the different way, you guys go where you want to go. Does that underscore when coaches tell you never know when a key play is going to happen?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Does that underscore when coaches tell you never know when a key play is going to happen, so you have to go all out every play?
Definitely. Yes, sir. I think the coaches, they appreciate that, and that's huge, three controversial plays and maybe each game could flip the score and maybe turn those into W's. But I think that was just a key example and lesson for us. So I just try to reiterate that to the new guys and young guys that every play matters and the small details matter. I try to just reiterate that to everybody else.
Left side, third row.
Hi, TJ. AP Stedham, AP as we see it. I stepped out, so hopefully this question wasn't asked. What have you learned from Pete Golding as a defensive coordinator? Did you answer that question yet?
What about Pete
What
Golding?
did you learn about Pete Golding as a defensive coordinator?
He's really intelligent. Like the guy, he's really intelligent, and I know you don't know, but if you were to see our schemes and the type of things we run, you'd think we'd be running a lot. But he simplified it to where so many coverages are somewhat the same or have somewhat detail that are the same, to where all of our coverages and schemes, it may seem like a lot, but he simplified it. So like just the intelligence of the game, him being able to teach that. A lot of coaches can have all these schemes and not be able to teach it to the players, but him being able to put that from the board into these players' minds is huge.
In the middle, third row.
For playing in practice, getting a chance so far leading up to the season, what's it been like going up against Simmons if you've had that opportunity?
It's been good. It's been awesome. Just watching him develop and grow, just seeing him take steps, even from the spring to now in the summer, watching him take a huge step, leadership and just ability. I think him being comfortable, like I'm watching him get more comfortable day in and day out, and the throws he's making are miraculous. So just watching that is awesome. He's awesome. He's great. He'd be a great opponent to go against, but I'm glad I get to play against him and just make him better in practice.
Yeah, sure.
How does Simmons so far, as a younger guy, we saw what he did against Georgia last year, coming in when Dart had to go out and right away to a crucial touchdown. How does he make you guys as a defense better?
His ability. I think, like you said, his ability, like that was just a flash of his ability. So even though him being a young guy and him not having like major experience, his ability has been great, and that challenges the defense with the throws he makes, like let alone him having to be a leader or just being older. Like the throws he's making out there are just crazy. So that's probably one of the biggest ways he's challenging us.
Sure. Take the microphone if you would, please.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Rapid fire questions here for me. I appreciate it. You guys, with the expanded college football playoff last year, came in 13th overall in the national rankings, which is one spot away. How do you guys what is your mindset heading into this year? Want to make it to the top 12, but knowing that you were literally right on the doorstep, maybe a chip on your shoulder, like in your own words, how would you describe what that mindset is, even with the changes on the roster that you talked about?
For sure, a chip on my shoulder, for sure, especially being here last year. But just with the new guys on the roster, just being able to focus on this year, take it week at a time. But it's been good, and the chips on our shoulder, it's been a huge chip on our shoulder. All the guys are hungry, new guys and the young guys. Everybody's hungry, so that's been good.
Right side, second row.
Because you kind of brought it up, with Austin and Jackson, how would you kind of compare their games? As a linebacker, you get a good viewpoint of what they're doing at practice. So how would you kind of compare and contrast their individual games?
Comparing, I think their game's similar in like their comfortability, the way they're able to sit in the pocket and watch routes develop and plays develop and not feel rushed, rather to get the ball out or, make a mistake. I think his comfortability is growing, and I think that's where he's getting that from Dart. Dart was really comfortable back there and just a mature leader, so I think that's where he's getting that from.
I have a final question over on the left side.
TJ, are you familiar with the quarterback that transferred from Ferris State? Did he arrive in the springtime? Did he ended up coming down there?
Yes, sir.
So what can you tell us about him? He must be pretty good to make that jump from Division II all the way to Division I.
Yes, sir. He has great talent as well. I think him coming in, he's been awesome, just being able to learn. I think his ability to come in and learn the offense has been great, and him getting more comfortable with the receivers and the O-linemen, just the team's been awesome. So it's been good.
TJ, thank you for your time. Good job.
Appreciate it.
We'll continue with Ole Miss. Austin is ready for your questions. Who would like to ask the first one? We'll start over here on the left on the third row.
Hey, Austin, been a few weeks.
Yes, sir.
Manning Passing Academy. AP Stidham of AP as we see it. Austin, how can you be successful in a Lane Kiffin passing offense? What are the things that you need to accomplish?
Of course, with our type of offense, we're moving so fast. So being able to process information at a quick speed, and also just preparation really goes into a lot of things. So just being so well prepared that you can know, you can identify every single defense that you see in front of you each and every play. You know what's going on in front of you. You know what to expect.
Left side, fourth row.
Hey, Austin, I know you were in the Manning Passing Academy with Lenora Sellers this summer. I'm just curious, as a fellow SEC quarterback, what's your evaluation of his talent as a player? And I feel like you guys are kind of in similar shoes in terms of where he was last year.
I mean, his game speaks for himself. He's definitely a unique player. He's a great size on him, obviously. He's a great runner. He's a great passer. So he's really just good all around.
Go on the front row here.
Dick Cox with Cox Sports Broadcasting, Lindy Sports. I know last year you had to watch and learn, but what were some of the biggest things that you learned by watching the games last year you think you can apply this year?
Definitely controlling the storm. Seeing adversity is going to strike, in this conference. Each and every game is going to be competitive. And obviously seeing how Dart just handled each and every type of adversity you face throughout the game, if you throw an interception or something like that, just really just stand calm and not freaking out.
Go here in the middle, third row.
Austin, you guys have 9 games in the state of Mississippi, 8 of them being in Oxford, the other one obviously at Mississippi State. But how big is that, do you feel like, to play in front of your guys' fans for, the majority of the season?
That's great for us. Our community is so well-rounded around the program. So, of course, just feeling that energy each and every, for 8 games? Yeah, so we have 8 games in Oxford. Just feeling that energy 8 times, on one day or night, it's just an amazing feeling because that stadium gets loud. Man.
Middle section, third row.
Austin, pleasure to meet you again. David Edelstein, the sports director at WJTV, the CBS station in Jackson, Mississippi. We spoke with Coach Kiffin earlier today, and he talked about how you've been growing so much already as you've taken on this, role as the starter. We saw you come in against Georgia last year and immediately have that impact with the touchdown. When you're following up, Dart, not that you're in a shadow or anything, to be clear, but that you're making your own kind of play and offense and everything, what's the process for you to work with the coaches that are returning and find your style and find the way that the offense can work for you at the same time as you're following up something that's been really successful for a while and you want to play into that as well?
I really think it all comes down to the off season. Just building that chemistry, on and off the field with your players. You have so many new faces coming in. Probably have 60 new players coming in. So just being around them and just make sure they have a great grasp of the offense and just really making sure that we're on the same page with my coaches.
Right side, second row.
Alex Byington on 3. Kind of along those lines, Lane mentioned there is inherent pressure to follow Ole Miss all-time leading passer in that role. What pressure do you kind of put on yourself, and then how do you deal with that going into the season?
I don't really put any pressure on myself. I just think that I just have to just forge my own legacy rather than just keep on building off from what Jackson did and his success. I just have to play my own game and just keep on going and growing as a player.
You're stepping into the spotlight this year in your role there. What's the most important thing you'd want people to know about you when they see you?
Oh, I'm putting everything on the line each and every play. You're never going to see me back down from a fight. I never flinch. And every single play is going to be 110%.
Awesome. David again. Where do you get your confidence from? It was a memorable moment for me, and I think many fans, to see you come in against Georgia, and it wound up being such a crucial touchdown. Where do you get your confidence from, and what are you focusing on right now on how you want to improve heading into this season?
I definitely say the confidence comes from being from South Florida. I'm from Miami, and just being Miami's pretty known for having all those great athletes coming out. Jeremiah Smith, he's from Opelika. I live 20 minutes from him, and really just being around those top dogs, and just competing with them at a high level, that just builds confidence on its own, and I just take it to college. But as far as preparation, what I want to get better in, I'd just say everything when it comes to my quarterback play. There's not one thing I want to leave out, and just really want to make sure that my game is close to perfection by the time the first game is. Yes, sir.
Stay on the middle.
Thanks. Just to follow up on that too, Austin. For you coming in, a lot of players in this world that we're in now don't want to be a backup quarterback, and not that anyone wants to be the backup, but there's opportunities for guys who are as skilled as you to go start somewhere else. Why did you choose to be there through a year like last year, where there's already an established quarterback, learn and get to the point now where in a world of transfer portals and NIL and I can go anywhere, that you stayed and now you're going to be the starting quarterback, having already a year under your belt, seeing this past very successful season?
I mean, because of the unique recruitment I had, coming in, I was a 2025 recruit, so this is technically supposed to be my true freshman year, if you really think about it. But I think just taking time, just learning and just seeing everything in front of me, and really just seeing how Dart prepared and stuff like that. And also just, baseball is also a factor too, because I was playing 2 sports there. So that's always just been my main goal is just learning and progressing as a quarterback.
Left side, third row.
Austin, every year there's usually a surprise with a team, maybe offense, defense. Is there anything that you can share with us that might be a surprise with this Ole Miss team?
I'd say this team is very competitive. We talk a lot of smack when it comes to OTAs and stuff like that. Even when it comes to runs, we always talk a little smack, and basically we have guys out there going 110% each and every rep, and that's what I love about this team. This team doesn't back down, but I just can't wait to see how we handle adversity, during games, and seeing how we just respond.
Right side, second row.
Austin, how have you, Tyler Combs, 24/7 Sports, how have you seen Caden Lee kind of grow from 2023 to now, and what are your expectations for him?
I mean, he's a very consistent player. I'll tell you that right now. He's always in the right spot. He's always doing the right thing. I mean, the stats speak for itself. He had 0 drops last year, over 900 yards, and then we have some other top dogs coming in as well. Just filling those spots of what we lost this past season. So seeing him as an overall player, I just can't wait to see what he's going to do this season.
Final question, right side, fourth row.
Jada Ferris with WAFB in Baton Rouge. The last few times y'all have played LSU, it's come down to those last-minute plays. How are y'all working to protect early leads as the season comes?
So I think it's just like, it all like just comes down to just what type of mindset you're going into the game with. Just like, are you out there just wanting to like just be out there, or are you going to dominate? I'd say, just always like being on your craft. And also, I come from like a big rivalry game back in high school. We played in the Mug Bowl. That's between Pahokee and Glade Central. So I'm always really familiar like with those type of games, and I just can't wait to play.
Thank you very much, Austin. Good job.
I appreciate y'all.
And there are a couple of games, Kentucky, maybe LSU, where if you made one key play, you might have played for everything. So is that just a great example of you never know the key situation?
Yeah, it's definitely a good example of you never know which play is going to matter. It could be the first play, it could be the last play of the game, could be the 59th play. So just treating every play like it's the best play of the game is very important.
Middle aisle.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. What do you tell people about Coach Kiffin, playing for him, and maybe things about him that folks wouldn't expect because they don't get to see him the way you do?
Yeah, if you want to see Coach Kiffin and his natural form, you'll come to his practice. You'll be listening to Taylor Swift mid-practice, and he'll be having coaches do receiver drills, falling down, and all type of stuff. It's just a really good environment.
Alex Byington on three. Kind of along those same lines, Lane's known for his alpha personality on social media and jokes. He was talking today about some of the back and forth with Hugh Freeze and some of the other coaches. As a player, what are some of your reactions when you see that, and what kind of interactions do you have at practice with him along those same lines?
If you're in Oxford, Mississippi, and we're over summer and it's raining outside and you just need something to laugh at, you go to Coach Kiffin's page and you'll see him on a boat fishing, tagging Coach Freeze, and it just gives you a laugh. Like, why is he doing that? So just being able to just ask him about it later, like, hey, Coach, why'd you do this? And he kind of explains it to you. It's awesome. Yes, sir.
On third row.
Nice to see you again. I'm David Edelstein, the sports director at WJTV, the CBS station in Jackson, Mississippi. First of all, since we're on the Lane Kiffin train over here, I was talking with some people here at the Hall of Fame earlier today, and they said he's pretty much on the same path as others that would be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, not just walking around for an SEC Media Days event. From your perspective, in your interactions with him, both the fun ones and just for playing, why do you feel like he's the right guy for Ole Miss, and that he's a coach that really does the right kind of job that could maybe wind up in that future position here in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Ole Miss before he got here versus after he got here, I feel like it's a total change. I remember turning the TV on and looking at old clips of Ole Miss playing in the stadium where it's packed. Now we're sold out almost every game. So just being able to see the type of, I'll use this word to make him happy, the type of aura he has bringing the fans to the stadium and everything is really big.
Middle section, fifth row.
What can you say about the growth and development out of Austin this offseason as he gets ready to step into the starting job?
Yeah, we've just seen Austin just take a tremendous jump from being, quote unquote backup to just being able to be that lead starting quarterback in the SEC is awesome. We've seen him just learn after Dart. We saw him when he went into the Georgia game, and we really trusted what he was going to do. We knew he was going to be the player that he is today, and we really look for big things out of him this year.
Left side, third row.
AP instead of AP as we see it. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What grabs the attention of Lane Kiffin as a wide receiver besides the obvious catching the ball?
I feel like to be able to just grab his attention is just being able to, the route detail. He's very big on knowing what to do, knowing the playbook inside and out, not just knowing one specific spot. So just being able to be a smart player is very big for him.
Go with the third row here.
Thanks. David again. When you're thinking about playing this season, expanded college football playoff, Ole Miss right on the brink last year, What's the mindset of the team entering into this season for what you guys are thinking, feeling, and talking about as you get ready to make a run to be in this time?
Yeah, you know, we lost a lot of people after last season, so just being able to just bring a lot of new faces in and being able to just preach that motto, going 1-0 is all that matters, because, you know, everybody wants to talk about the national championship, the SEC championship, but nothing else matters but just going 1-0 every day and winning the first game, winning the second game. That's kind of the message we have for our team.
Fifth row.
You mentioned earlier the idea of changing the culture at Ole Miss from a place that wasn't seen as a football powerhouse to one of the top programs in the SEC. What would it mean to be part of one of the great runs in the history of the program?
I feel like it would mean everything. Just to be a part of that as a player, just being able to just carry that with you for almost ever is just awesome. I feel like it would do a lot for the community, Oxford, and then the fans as well. I mean, they deserve it, and we're gonna try to do our best to go 1-0.
Left side.
Caden, I wanted to ask you about last year against Kentucky. And what do you think the reason that game that y'all had a letdown? Well, have you reflected on that game specifically? Because that, to me, is the game that really kept you out of the playoffs.
Yeah, Kentucky was definitely one of the bigger ones we want to have back. You know, they just came out and they played one of the best games they played all year last year, I feel like. And I feel like we didn't execute from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. I feel like we might have played a good first quarter, but then we slacked off in the third quarter and they caught us. So just being able to just go and play a full four-quarter game will be important to us moving to this next season.
Third row.
Oh, again. For you, what is the way that you find when working with Austin, you know, and like you said, a lot of pieces changed this year. How do you adjust to maybe the same game plan, of course, is what I'm hearing, but new people bring different skills and you want to play to those skills. How do you adjust to that and learn that after, of course, having successful seasons the past few years with guys like Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, who really had a consistency that could be expected, and this year's a little bit different, if you see where I'm getting at, the same success, but a different way.
Yeah, I just feel like with Austin Simmons, him being a lefty quarterback is just a total 180 from where it used to be. You know, if Dart was going to roll out to the right, now he might roll out to the left. So you kind of just flip the entire playbook almost. And now speaking more so to the receiver position, from Dejon Stribling to Trey Wallace to Deuce Alexander to everybody that we've brought in, I feel like it's just we kind of revamped, and I feel like we're almost even better as a receiver room than we were last year. So I feel like there's almost no drop off at all.
We have time for a final question. Anybody out there? Okay, right side.
Okay, do you like the way kind of going back to the Kentucky question, I guess, do you like how the schedule's formatted this year, where you're not playing 4 straight non-conference games? You guys kind of get right into SEC play. I think Kentucky actually week 2.
Yeah, I feel like it creates a different mindset, just being able to know that you have to win earlier, you have to win sooner, you have to win more often than just kind of having to play 4 non-conference games at the beginning. It's kind of tough. I would rather kind of get into it a little bit earlier.
Good job, Caden. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you.